Welcome to Trans Fabulous. My name is Sasja Sÿdek, and I am the co-founder of Trans Sisters United and Trans Pride March Melbourne. I am also that familiar voice at Queering the Air on 3CR and also a board member of TransFem to End Violence Against Trans Women. Today I have a very special guest. Her name is Khann, and before I start, we would like to acknowledge that this event and all of the work that we undertake as a crew happens on the stolen land. We wish to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation are the traditional custodian of this land we call now Melbourne. We pay respect to their elders past, present, and emerging, always was and always will be Aboriginal land. We also would like to extend our respect to our trans elders past and present. Khann Tuapawa, a resilient trans woman from New Zealand, has called Melbourne home for several decades. Embracing her identity unapologetically and living life on her own terms, she embodies a fearless attitude. Enduring significant discrimination as a trans woman during the 80s and 90s, Khann experiences have only made her stronger. She has triumphed over adversity, demonstrating remarkable resilience. Now retired, Khann is relishing in the joys of life, appreciating the freedom and fulfilment that comes with being true to herself. Welcome, Khann.
Thank you, and thank you very much for having me.
You're a trans fabulous. Of course, I have to have you on this show.
Okay.
Getting to know you over the years, you are I believe, a very fearless person. I mean, you love life. And I love that about you. You know, you're always a joy to be around with. So, Khann, can we talk a little bit about where you're from?
I was born in a place called Kaikohe. It's the top of the North Island.
Okay,
and,
that is in New Zealand.
Yes. And I immigrated when my father passed.
Mm-hmm.
There's an old custom that one of the children were given to the grandparents to replace the loss of my dad.
Okay.
So I was moved to Gisborne, another place on the east coast of New Zealand, and brought up by my grandparents. And when they passed, I was moved in with my uncle and auntie who couldn't have children. I knew I was transgendered when I was little, and all the time, like going to school. We were one community. Well, we were the one family at the one school. So there would have been about maybe 6 Europeans there, but we didn't have the stigmas attached like we do in the real world.
Right.
So we were still kept in that family environment, and we were always treated like family, and we weren't treated like anything else.
How did your family, take it when they know that you're different?
I moved to Wellington first. I think I was 15, 16 years old, and I went to Wellington and I stayed with my aunt, and I used to pick her up because she used to work at the Picture Theatre in Wellington at night time. So I used to pick her up, and we used to walk past the red light district area.
I've been there.
She and we're walking and said, "Oh my God, they're pretty," and she said, "Oh, they're men."
Oh, okay.
And I went, "Oh," and then the light just switched on for me.
Okay.
Because I knew that's where I needed to be.
The red light district.
And so that's how I started, and I got involved with them, and I became a prostitute, a stripper, because employment for us back in those days was just not happening.
This is in the 80s?
Yes.
Okay.
In the early 80s.
Early 80s? Yeah. How did you even start?
I got a job working at a pleating factory, pleating skirts.
Oh.
And there was another transgendered woman there who was, we hadn't actually cross-trained over yet.
Yeah.
Transitioned.
Yes.
And her and I used to go out at night time. but we wouldn't go anywhere near the red light district area. We'd end up in Courtney Place across the road from the fire station, if you please.
Okay.
But it was so funny, and it was really funny back in those days. And when I look back at it, you know, with her wig hanging in the trees where we get dressed at the museum.
And not in the trees?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'd still be in bush.
Yeah.
But you would I'd pinch my auntie's shoes, and they'd be like the grandma shoes with the thick heel, and she'd grab something from her auntie who was a transsexual.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she bought a wig, but we used to get dressed at the museum in Wellington at night time and get ourselves, you know, eyeliner, lipstick. That was it. There was nothing else.
Right.
She puts this wig on with a sun visor on, so that's how green we were.
Yeah.
And they used to have these the security guards coming down, so we sort of like hid away.
Yeah.
And then when they had gone, so we started walking off.
Yeah.
And then I realised she didn't have her hair on.
Oh
her
my
hair.
God.
So I looked around, it was still blowing in the trees. It was really funny. But then we moved, and then we were accepted onto the street.
The street, yes.
It was a very hard being a young.
Of course.
And then
so
the older,
you need to
the older ones wouldn't even
people.
talk to you.
Oh yeah, of course.
They just totally ignored you and the nose up in the air, and you know until
they
until
don't
they
like the
wanted
young
something.
ones. The pretty ones. Yeah.
And then you got bashed up.
Oh my God!
You got arrested for silly things by the police for loitering with intent to commit a crime, namely prostitution.
Yeah.
And you could be just doing your grocery shopping, but who do you believe? It was
Oh my God.
It was our word against theirs. And
Yeah.
So I fought it.
So
lost.
do you get charged?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
without any evidence. Without. Yeah.
No, because I wasn't known. We were all known.
Okay.
We were all known, but it was vice squads and people like that, but the police, like the uniform police, a lot of them we got to know individually, and we all got busted by these by the vice. All the girls got busted, but they were having a stag party, and we all got invited to do the stag party. So when we all went to court, it was $5 fine, $5. And the judge didn't know what the hell was going on. It was like, oh my God.
You also got into the stripping industry.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I always dreamed to be a stripper, but you know I'm a bit too old now to be stripping, a bit heavy. But please.
Well, a lot of us became strippers and at a place called the Club Exotic.
Club Exotic.
This
is in Wellington still.
This is still in Wellington, and they had a straight strip joint called the Perfume Gardens across the road.
Perfume Garden?
Yes, the Perfume Garden. And they had another one next door to us called Tiffany's.
Okay.
And all the spruikers that used to get clientele to go into these places, they'd go, "Where's across the road real woman here?" So all the men would come running across to see the transsexual stripping.
Oh wow!
But you know, and we had G-strings, the whole works, and it was just amazing. So.
And did you make a lot of money?
Well,
doing stripping?
no, we didn't actually, because that was like our winter holiday home. The boss there, he was Greek.
Yeah.
And he'd only pay us like $5, but in between.
$5?
Yeah. Honest to God, $5 a night. He's passed away now, but we would in the toilets with the men that were there after you get off stage, and you'd go to the toilet and before he came around, because he used to check the toilet, because we weren't allowed to do that because it was illegal.
All right.
So, or if we wanted to leave, I'd say to him, "Oh, I'm just going downstairs to get me a burger," because there was a burger bar underneath, and I wouldn't come back because it was busy on the street.
Okay.
So, plus, he owned a restaurant, so he would take us to this restaurant for a meal.
And then, how long did you stay doing stripping then?
10 years.
Wow.
10 years, and then I then employed by the New Zealand government.
Yes, you work for the government.
Yes,
Okay.
For equal
From a
employment.
stripper to government. Okay.
Equal employment opportunities.
Yes.
And I was in charge of budgets and travel and that sort of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was an opportunity, but there were a few gay guys that working there but I was sort of like talked about,
Right.
every time you go into the cafeteria and, because back in those days it was Jones Collins was the look. So I'd dress up like Joan Collins,
Yeah.
gloves and
Yeah.
fantastic hourglass figure and because our office was right next to the cafeteria and there was a door that was open and I could hear these gay guys talking about me to these straight ladies.
Yeah.
Queen,
Okay.
And I thought, oh, how rude. And I walked past. So I went to go and get me some lunch, and I looked at their table, and I said, excuse me, don't I know you? He goes, oh, I don't think so. I said, that's right, it's your boyfriend I know. And carried on walking and got my lunch.
What makes you move to Melbourne?
My friends came here.
Okay.
One of my best friends actually came here. Tamara was her name.
Okay.
And she said to come over, so I came. And Latoya was already here.
Okay.
Then Tamara, and then me, and then Kerry Rose, then me, and but we still.
So you had to leave your government work for you to move here?
Oh no, I worked in government here too.
Here.
For the
okay,
health, for human services.
Okay, yeah.
With AIDS, hepatitis, and sexual health centre in Swanston Street.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
As a counsellor as well as a administration officer.
Amazing, amazing.
And so I'm always out there in regards to being out there rather than hiding it away. I am what I am. So love it or lump it, and. That's not my problem, it's yours.
Yes.
And I just carry on just being myself and, I get really well respected by people who, when you stick up for yourself.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I think that's very important.
Oh, it's very important. I think like sometimes we talked about this earlier, like the truth will set you free.
Well, that's right.
Right?
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, it's sort of, I didn't realise when I first started working for the government, I did a story about what we're talking about my life as a stripper and a prostitute. And I didn't realise the repercussions that would have when it actually came out. I was all worrying about, I'm going to be on my photo's going to be on the front page and plastered all over. And then I realised that the repercussions of that, how my family would react, because I hadn't told a soul about prostitution.
Of course.
Stuff like that.
I think there's a lot of stigma as well back then. Like, it only recently about maybe 5 years where sex work is being acknowledged now and being taken seriously because, sex work is work.
Well, when I first came here, I went to, is it Carlisle Street?
Carlisle Street, yeah.
And, well, I dressed like a prostitute. And these prostitute, the girls, they'd cover up in a jacket. As soon as a cop car would come, they'd go hiding under a bush. I'd have like, fishnet stockings on and all that sort of look and tits hanging out and da-da-da-da-da. And, I said, well, they know you're here, so what's the point in hiding it?
Yeah, true. So you moved here and then you fell in love with Melbourne?
I did. I fell in love with Melbourne, and I'm still in love with Melbourne. I think it's one of the most beautiful cities I've been in, and I have been to other cities in the world, but Melbourne is one of the best cities. I love Melbourne.
Yeah, and you only are always in Melbourne, or you have lived in other states as well?
No, Melbourne.
Okay. Same.
Just Melbourne. Just Melbourne. I've been to other states, and no, thank you.
Not for me.
Not
too.
for me.
I like it here because the fashion is good, and I think that's people said, "Oh, Melbourne is so cultured." At the time, I didn't understand that until I meet people. I say like, "Oh, yeah, it is very cultured," because you can see in a group where different races are in one group.
Well, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
over
right.
here
That's
it's
right.
different.
But I hang out with every other race.
Yeah.
And every other race, and that's how you get to meet people.
Get to know about their food. Their culture.
Yeah. So when I was working at 580 Swanston Street, I organised a luncheon for all the ethnic groups, and they had to bring food from their country, so that we would all share lunch together, because we're all on different floors, and we really didn't get to see, hi. So I said, why don't we just come together? So that happened. So we made it happen. And it was magic. It was magic, and trying the different things, Malaysian food, Thai foods. And that's when one of my friends goes, "Oh, what do you get from New Zealand?" I said, a hangi."
Do you miss New Zealand at all? I mean, you've been here for a very long time.
Oh, yes. I've been involved with the Māori community out in the western suburbs, and trying to organise building of a marae for our people, because our people, rather than having our funerals and things in their homes, and we really need a place of our own to do that. And it's been an ongoing thing. The Aboriginal community out there had given us a block of land to build on. Now the council have taken some of the land back, which is fine. Which is fine. I doubt if anything's going to get built on it.
Being in Australia, and you know, we're all getting older, and we have some health issues as well. How do you think about the health system here? Is it better than New Zealand, or?
I'm not too sure. From what I've been hearing back in New Zealand, because it's been like 40 years since I've been to any hospital in New Zealand, and it wasn't for anything major, but back then it was quite, you got seen straight away. Now it's I think Australia's a better system than New Zealand. Absolutely.
You have shared about your health issues, and you're still looking fabulous, though. Trans fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you always look fabulous. Whenever we don't get to see it as often, but whenever I see you, you're always looking fabulous. Your nails is always on point. Do you want to see anything changes here? I mean,
well, actually, I would like to. I don't know how we got caught up with the GBLT, the T.
Oh, the LGBT.
I would rather be more autonomous and break away from that sort of, because they get the funding. Well, what do we get? What does everyone else get? It's mainly the gays and the lesbians that get most of the funding, and that's where it all goes. And they're the ones that are using the rest of the. Well, I feel like we've all been thrown into one box.
It's true. I mean,
when our genders are so different.
I agree about what you said.
Like I was tested. For HIV/AIDS without my consent.
I know.
Which is
Let's
highly
talk
illegal.
about this.
Which is highly illegal.
They because they just assume that you might have.
Because of my sexuality. And I said, I'm sorry, but.
And your gender, your sexuality, they just assume that you might have STD or HIV.
If I was a heterosexual with 5 kids and I was diagnosed with cancer, will you still be testing me for HIV? I said, why did you ask me? I would have told you I don't have it.
Yeah, that is strange, isn't it? Without your consent, but this is
twice that's happened to me.
So, what year was
and
this?
I know that's what they're doing is that they really need your consent, and they really have to tell you
what they're testing,
what they're actually testing your blood for.
Is this recent or
recent?
Oh wow!
Yeah, and I'm going, oh wow, but I just play dumb and just go along with it. I mean, I could have. Gotten rid of that one's license.
Yeah, that is just it's still like that stereotyping.
Yeah.
I mean, like in Singapore, as a transgender woman, we can't donate blood. I don't know about here, but in Singapore, we can't donate blood because they just assume transgender women will be in sex work, and we have all sort of diseases.
There you go.
And that is discrimination. And
it is.
Things that
but
we
the
have to put up with.
That what I was told is because I have cancer and I have immunotherapy rather than chemotherapy, and when he told me that about the HIV/AIDS thing, and I said, well, why did you test me? He goes, oh, because if you can't have the drugs, if you're HIV/AIDS positive. And I thought, well, hey, that doesn't sound right, because these are new drugs that you're trialing. So how would you know if I was to be HIV, that drug would have a reaction to the drugs that I'm taking now?
But I think it's all about coming back to consent. Like if they want to do something or test on you, they need to let you know what they're testing for.
That's right. Yeah. Equality.
Exactly. I mean, like, this is a progressive country and an English speaking country. It's not like, I still remember like going to Thailand for my very first breast augmentation, and everything is in Thai. So we don't know what we signed for, the forms.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and then there's some things that wasn't consensual, and because you don't know what you signed, and then they just strip you naked, and then you just want to see whether you are female or male, and they need to view it like like get you naked. I mean, it's so uncomfortable. Like, why can't you just believe that person who said like I'm a female or I'm a transgender woman or
Yeah. When I went to China, and because they put Q on my passport for sex,
oh
and
yes
and I'm trying to get through,
yeah
and just because they don't have a tarmac there, they
mm,
they bus you to the main thing,
yeah
and they fingerprint you and everything, and they're looking at my passport,
yeah
and then they're getting the manager or whoever
yeah
come over,
yeah
and my friend's sitting there, female. Thinking, oh.
Some things needs to change, isn't it? Yeah, I mean,
Oh well,
people need
there
to be
have
more
been
aware.
changes. There have been a lot of
I mean,
slowly.
of course.
Slowly.
I mean, like, I'm using my platform to amplify a lot of our trans elders'
Well,
voices. Yeah.
exactly.
And some of the trans elders came up to me and said, like, why now? I said, like, well,
Why
because there's
not?
no one did it before. So
Well, that's right.
I have a platform now, and I want to do this for the trans elders, because one day when you're not here, your voice gonna be your story.
That's right.
Instead of me telling people your story, you can tell your own story.
Yeah.
So we need more funding for that.
Oh, that's right. And yet, it would be nice if we could have our own organisation of transsexuals run by transsexuals, apply for all this funding that everyone else seems to be getting.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of us weren't that educated.
Yeah.
You know, we were just strippers, prostitutes, and
I know.
And I mean, clever up here, but when it comes to other things, but when it comes to actually,
but you can't beat the
writing,
experiences, though.
that's right.
Yeah, the experiences where you also learn from your life. There's difference between like learning books, and then life experiences.
Life experience.
Yeah.
It's always been the school of hard knocks, I call it.
Okay. Yeah. So that's why I always thought, I want to use my platform to amplify voices of our elders, and then you can tell your own story instead of us telling your story. You will be one of my panel at an evening with the trans elders, part 2 this year in November. I was like telling Latoya, how are we going to top this? This is so camp last year. And then they said, no, we can top this. I got Khann, I got Michelle.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Well, Michelle would be absolutely perfect. And she's very eloquently spoken.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if I had questions and stuff like that,
yeah,
and known that I was going to answer it, I probably would have just written out a script or something and rehearsed it.
Because I want it to
be... But this is raw, though. Natural,
yeah, I like it raw because I want it to be organic.
Yeah.
Because it's a show not to educate people, because this is your life. You live with those terminology, and, and we need to respect that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, people can't just get offended all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Life is short. If you have anything to tell our viewers, especially our young ones, what advice would you...
Oh, I don't know how to answer that.
That's okay. I mean,
can we come back to that later?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, like, it's like giving advice, like, do not take life too seriously, or do not get offended so seriously. Speaking from your life experiences, because you guys gone from hell and come back, right? Like, through the police system, through the public discrimination, and also the discrimination, and even like being bashed in the street.
Oh, even using women's toilets, or even dressing like a woman.
Yeah, so, and now it's changed. A lot have changes. But I just feel like, it's always there for the new generations. And there's always like 1-800 seek help. There's always organization that you can reach out to. What do you think do you think they should have experienced something like this, and not to give up, and and
that's
live
right.
your
I think
life.
live life to the fullest.
Yeah.
And that's my advice I would give. And you will come up against diversity and challenges, but you will get through them. And just carry on. Like if you have if nothing goes right for you and you were expecting it to go right and it didn't, don't think of it as a...
Do not have expectation.
Just carry on and do it again and keep doing it until you get it.
Yes. Thank you. That was nice. Thank you, Khann, to be on Trans Fabulous as you are. You are Trans Fabulous and part of the Trans Fabulous family now. And I'm looking forward to have you on my show, An Evening with the Trans Elders, this November, and we can hear more details. I mean, it's uncut and it's going to be raw, it's going to be organic, and stay tuned. So thank you for being here, Khann.
Thank you very much.
And you have been with me, Sasja Sÿdek, on Trans Fabulous, and I'll see you again on the next episode. Trans Fabulous.